Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be banging out a track swap on a Gen 4 850. So I've never actually done a Gen 4 before, so I'll take you along and I'll show you what I did. I'm sure the next time I do it, it'll be a lot faster, but let's see how it goes.
First thing we're doing is releasing track tension, which is just the 13mm cross bolt, and then the tension bolts, and then you could kind of see that whole rear axle just slides forward. With the arm motions, you need a special tool, but I made one. You just got to rattle off the 17mm for the front mount. There's a nut behind it as well. Now the track's pretty much ready to come out. It's always going to take some wiggling trying to get it out from under, like the wheels kind of stick on where the track is, and the less track tension you have, the better, and the higher up the sled is, the better, because you kind of jiggle it out the side. So you want to take out those bushings so you don't lose them. Doors open up and they just lift up. These are good things to take off, get them out of your way. Now we're taking off the Torx bits for the brake cover. There's one on the floor that's not inserted in. Brake cover lifts up and away. Now there's a snap ring on there that you have to take off. Comes right off the axle. Okay, so now we're taking off the 5 Torx bits to remove the hood. There's plenty of Gen 4 videos on this. I don't think I covered it that well. So the hood just kind of pulls right off once you guide the harness out. Now we're taking off the 2 clips that hold the exhaust shielding on. And the exhaust shielding kind of comes off like a clamshell. And then these 2 exhaust springs just pull off like regular. You could use a shoestring, pair of vice grips. I like the tool. Now there's a 13mm down there that's held together with that compresses a spring, and that's the only thing holding the muffler on. You just want to be careful of the harness for the exhaust gas temperature sensor, but usually there's enough room to lay them out of the way. Now you're removing the harness similar to on another XP or anything else. Just removing the Torx bits around the perimeter of the chain case. Careful not to strip them out. Now that the chain case is off, you're going to remove the tensioner clip and remove the Torx bit, or roll out the Torx bit as far as you can so that you can get the chain and the gear off.
Right.
Now you're taking the snap ring off the axle, which allows you to pull that gear off. Just remember the numbers are going to be facing out when you go to reinstall this gear. Okay, now you pull the whole brake assembly off. The caliper comes off with the rotor. And then after undoing the Torx bits around the perimeter of the axle bearing, you can kind of just push that whole axle and driver assembly out. And then this takes some finagling, but it's got to come towards the PTO side of the sled and then goes back down. Now the track just comes out. Now we're just laying the new track out. This one was pretty stiff because it was cold, so I had to run it under the heater for a while. Okay, so now you're sneaking up the drivers underneath the in between the track, and it obviously goes in through the brake side first and then slides back through the gear case side. This is always going to take some finagling because the track kind of gets in the way. That's an alright idea to put the brake back on, try to get everything try to get the driver fixed in before you go and mess with the rest of everything. Now you're reinstalling the Torx bits. And the snap ring back on. Always give that snap ring just a little push to make sure it seats on the actual collar. Now you're back on the other side. I'm cleaning out the chain case. I always do this just to make sure any debris, dust, or old grease kind of gets out of the way. Again, the numbers on the gear, the bottom gear out, and reinstalling the snap ring. Now we're just tightening up the chain tension. This is kind of all by feel. You want to make sure there's not enough to slap the case, but not too tight to induce wear on the bearings. You got to make sure that gasket's well in place before you put that cover back on. And just go super light with these Torx bits and go all the way around the perimeter, like in a circular fashion, so that you're not over torquing them or twisting the cover up in any way. So now we're filling the chain case oil. You can see it come out the little MPT plug at the bottom of the case. Muffler reinstalls. Just make sure you don't lose that 13 millimeter on the way in, and you route the EGT sensor harness correctly. Tighten down that 13 millimeter. And reinstall the exhaust springs. These are nice and easy to get to, unlike the XP and the XS chassis. Now we're just putting the clamshell on and reinstalling the clip. Kind of like that design of the heat shield better than the springs. Tried something different by ratchet strapping the track up to try to give me a little more room to get the track in, to get the skid in. It seemed to help a little bit, but only for a short period at a time, because it does get in your way and you need some length on the track. Just reinstalling those bushings so that we wouldn't lose them when the track was moving around the garage. Your one-man show, it's kind of nice to use a pry bar and a piece of wood, and what you can do is you can kind of lift the track up on your the skid up on your own and line up the bolts, but you're always going to need to use a ratchet strap to line up the two mounting points. But ratchet strap's always been the easiest for me to do it, way to do it. So you can see we're releasing tension right now, and now there's spring tension on the skid. I'm just putting the brake cover on. And the hood goes back on now. Make sure you don't miss that hose clamp for the air neck, and you guide the harness up and through. This sled had some parts missing when it came in, so didn't really have to do much with that, and it should clip in, and you can kind of see it push back and land in the spot it should right there. Now we're tightening up the track. There should be 1.5 inches of free play across the center of the track when you push down on it, and now just tightening the cross pin. Doors go back on, and that's pretty much all there is to it.
All right, and that's it. She's track swapped. So I still got her hanging from the ceiling, but nice. I think that's like a 2-inch paddle now. It's a big track, but she's all tensioned, greased, and I did a full pre-season maintenance on it, and it's ready to go. I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this.